What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop back here again. We got NBA and MLB ready for you guys today. Hope you're ready for it. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I mean, good weekend, good sports weekend, a lot of stuff going on. The Kentucky Derby was something that my Discord absolutely nailed, which was fun. I'm big on picking the best names. You know what I mean? I have no clue what's going on, anything besides that. But that was a lot of fun for me, as well as the NBA playoffs, some good MLB slates. I don't know if you saw my Nationals, baby. We're scrappy. We're staying in it. I mean, that's above 500, right? I mean, that's crazy. So I want these boys to keep on killing it. So good weekend for me. My Nats are winning. We had some fun with the Derby. And, hey, NBA playoffs has been very, very fun as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been crazy so far. I did watch the Minnesota first game. I did get to watch that, so that was cool. But, yeah, MLB was awesome. This weekend we just continued to go. I put couple units down on that Cubs over when I was there. It was too hot outside not to. Flew over, so that was cool. Obviously, UFC was hitting too as well, so it was fun. It was a good weekend, and I'm back, ready to go on some MLB here. All MLB for me, all NBA for you. Let's get this thing rolling. I guess I know we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, with you doing two separate NBA games, since it's a 2-game slate. I'll be talking about quite a few MLB game spots because I am parlaying a couple spots. So let's get it started. Let's get it rolling here. We can take a look at the chat in here first. We got Tyrone talking some stuff in there. We got Cashville in there. Hit that like button. Appreciate you guys. Man, morning, man. We got it's like noon here, ain't it? It won by you. So I'm like, damn, if that's just had a fun night, I guess. So
hey, or it could be West Coast. We got some West Coast people on here as well. At 10 a.m. time slot, something like that.
Yeah, I guess. I never even count that, dude. It's just so off. Like it would just like when I was out in Vegas, it would just fucked my entire slot up, bro. It's just like, dude, these games are playing at 5. What the hell, dude? Like I'm like I just have a couple more hours yet to go.
Yeah.
So it's it makes it a little bit different.
No, last time I was in Vegas, if people remember, I was betting the Women's World Cup. That's when that was going on. And that was in Australia. So I was doing like 4 time conversions trying to figure out when these games were going on. And half of them ended up at 2 in the morning or whatever. But yeah, it's a whole different trip on the West Coast when you're used to this over here and those start times, especially.
Yes, sir. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. So we'll get it going. We got 10 of you guys in here, first 2-3 minutes here. Appreciate you. Let's kick it over to you, Stu. What stands out today on this 2-game NBA slate for you?
I mean, for me, a lot of it starts with the Knicks Pacers. I don't know about anyone else in the chat, but I mean, I'm pretty big on the Knicks series prices for this one. I've got the Knicks -1.5 in the series. And then I also just put a unit on them to win the series outright at -265, which is a little bit juicy. But I mean, for me, it's almost like, why am I not putting more money on this, right? Like, I think I'm not the only one that's talked about it, but this Pacers team, it's really interesting to see where they're going to get that scoring from, right? All year long, they've been a transition team. They've kind of not had any defense. They stepped it up a little bit in the second half of the year, but the way they were getting their buckets wasn't very sustainable because in the playoffs, you're forced to slow down in the half court. Your shot creators are actually put to test right here. And while Halliburton is sick at generating assists for other guys, right, it's kind of like who's going to step up and really carry this team in the playoffs. And for me, against a team like the Knicks, it's so slow, right? That's so good at kind of establishing their style of play and playing the exact opposite of that, right? They don't want to run in transition. They don't want to do any of that stuff. For me, I think that makes this series just like a really tough mismatch. I think the biggest thing is really for the Knicks, what about depth? I think that's kind of my question. Like, how do they, McBride has been great, right? But they're running a 7-man rotation. They lost Bogdanovich already. I mean, are we going to go back to Precious Achiuwa minutes now? Probably not, right? It didn't look like he was involved at all. So if the Knicks get out going early, I think that's so huge to the series. Because if the Pacers can steal a win early and the series goes a little deeper, I think that's where the lack of depth kind of starts hitting the Knicks. But for now, I feel pretty good about them kind of cooking this series pretty early. I think they come out hot. I think they come out aggressive today. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a big on the Knicks series prices. That's all I can say. I love them to win outright. I think minus 1.5 games as well is another good price if you don't want to pay that minus 265. But I'm kind of looking at it like, why isn't it minus 400? Why isn't it minus 440? Something like that. So that's definitely the first thing that popped off. I'll be big on the Knicks all series. I had them last series against Philly as well, and I think they're going to take care of business against the Pacers. So I'm definitely hopping out to an aggressive start on the Knicks today.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, I don't really know what they're going to do. Just because I saw, Pat Bev cooked these boys. What are you going to do with Brunson? Like, really, dude? Like, Pat Bev was putting numbers on these guys. And that dude, I know Dame wasn't playing. He got a higher usage rate, but is there a higher usage guy outside of Luka in this playoffs than this dude right now? Jalen Brunson literally got the ball every second of the game, and the boys playing 48 minutes. So it's tough for you to want to get away from it because we have seen that defense struggle a little bit. And I think the Knicks are more willing to play in that mid-range game if they have to. I think that they have the shot makers to do it. But I know we just talked about it before the show. It's going to be interesting with these guys who their sole purpose is to shoot threes. Like that's literally their whole thing. And you saw it in the Bucks series. It was tough for them to get those threes off. And the ones they were making were contested. And there's nobody really better than that than Dame, right? Dame can hit those with those step backs. I don't know. It's going to be tough. So interesting talk there. I know we're going to talk about the other games here as well. We've got 16 people in here live. We'll get to the free plays here in a minute. But I think if I'm going over to MLB, dude, I am really interested in these couple games that are pretty cool spreads. I like this Oakland Rangers game. I think that one is going to get kind of brushed over. And, dude, I know, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. I know everybody hates Alex Wood, but I kind of fuck with him tonight, man. I do kind of fuck with him a little bit tonight. And I'll talk about that in my bet. But also, why is my boy Luis Castillo only minus 115 against Simeon Woods Richardson? I kind of like that spot. Kind of a weird spot. I know this, but Seattle's pitching is so good. Like it is unbelievably good. Like Bryce Miller got shelled compared to what they're usually giving up, and he only gave up 3 runs, right? So it's like that was more runs than I think their last 3 games for their starters. So it's a pretty crazy right now what this Mariners starting staff is doing. And obviously Minnesota got Yoan Duran back. So should be a fun game. I'm just very curious to see if Richardson gets hit around a little bit, which I think he kind of does.
Yeah, no, and I was scrolling through, the Castillo one popped out to me as well of like, oh, that's an interesting price. But I almost feel like I felt that multiple times where it almost feels like he never gets the respect that maybe some of these other elite pitchers do. And I assume the idea is they're going to stack up a bunch of lefties against him, right? That's going to be the goal. But it's kind of how much you trust that Minnesota lineup to produce at that point,
Yeah, 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing in is what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
it is. How are you? I don't see the sustained 3 hits to get in a guy off Castillo because of his elite stuff. Even if you get bases loaded, nobody out, Castillo's the type of guy with the heavy sinker, high whiff, four-seam fastball that can definitely get it by you. So it just makes me really kind of like Castillo more. And Richardson I've not been impressed. I did bet on him in DFS when he was minimum price. Now I'm willing to fade him today. So I think those are the 2 games I liked on the slate that kind of stood out to me. But yeah, I'm excited. It should be a fun slate for me. I will kick it over to you, Stu, right away, and we can get this going. We got 20 of you guys in here. First 8 minutes. Appreciate all you guys. Get that like button before we get in the free plays. We appreciate it. Let's get it going, Stu, and I'll start it off with that Knick game.
Sounds good. We'll start out where we just left off. We're going Hartenstein over 21.5 points, rebounds, assists. This is over on FanDuel. It's actually a point higher on DraftKings right now. So it's definitely good to, take advantage. Whenever those 2 major books are off, that's always something we want to take advantage of. But when we look at it, I like Hartenstein a lot just in general in matchups for this series. When you look at that series against, obviously, the 76ers, he still played okay. I wouldn't say it was a great series for him, but I think his efforts were maybe a little bit more seen on the defensive side of the ball, both with him starting out kind of strong, but then like Embiid realizing like, I just got to go at this guy every chance I get, because if not, it's going to be a double team, right? And so what happened is you end up with 4, 5, 5, 4, and 3 fouls in those games, right? He was in foul trouble every single one of those games. But despite that, he still averaged 26.5 minutes per game. He only had one game with like 18 minutes in that first one when he ran into immediate foul trouble. But ever since then, he's still playing over 26 minutes per game in one of the worst matchups possible against Embiid in foul trouble. When you look at his season averages, when he's averaging 26 minutes per game, which isn't even that much, by the way, I think we could see 30 plus right here. He's at 24.5 PRA. So he's pretty easily clearing this number over in 18 of his last 25, which is a 65% hit rate during the regular season. For me, the biggest thing is like, what do we need Mitchell Robinson for in this series exactly? Like, I'm genuinely curious when I see people project Mitchell Robinson to be more involved, because I looked around, a lot of people like Hardenstein unders, and I'm seeing it's because he didn't have good stats in the first series, and we could see even more Mitchell Robinson. What is Mitchell Robinson's purpose in this series, right? This is a guy that's a great offensive rebounder. He's a good defensive player, a good shot blocker. He was needed for a guy like Joel Embiid in the paint, right? That was his job. His job is not to go out and guard anybody on the three-point line, right? That's not something that's really going to be happening with him, and that's what Miles Turner wants to do. He wants to stretch the floor. So for me, I don't see any more minutes for Robinson in this series. I see a demotion in minutes, and I think Hardenstein can step up across the board. I started out, I liked assist. I think I saw some upside in the assist category, right? This is a guy, he's going to get a lot of dribble handoffs. When you look at their games in the regular season, Brunson got mostly one-on-one play, but they were just trying to keep the ball out of his hands. They were trying to blitz him. So what they're doing is they got him involved in a lot of dribble handoffs. They trust Hardenstein as a passer. They allow him to kind of control the offense when the ball isn't in Brunson's hands at times, which isn't something that's that common for centers, right? So I'm liking the assist upside. Then you look at the Pacers. Sure, their defense did get better in the second half of the season. The rebounding really didn't, especially against offensive rebounders. In the second half of the year, they were a top or bottom 5 offensive rebounding team, against opposing like offensive rebounders. And Hardenstein is great on the offensive glass. He's very aggressive there. I think he's not going to have too much competition in the rebounding department down low. Obviously, Siakam will be down there as well, probably getting off of his OG assignment. But overall, I think it's a good matchup there. And then we look at the scoring department. What are the Pacers really good at? They're good at eliminating the three-point ball. They close out really aggressively and they force you off of the three-point line. That's been their philosophy all year long. That seems to work exceptionally well against everyone on the Knicks roster except Jalen Brunson, right? That's like the one guy, force him off the three-point line. Okay, he's going to go to work in the mid-range. We know that. But even once you cross off 40 points out of the 100 total in this game, when you look and you distribute it, there aren't shot creators, right? They lost Bogdanovich off the bench. McBride was solid, or actually was very good last series, but he was producing off of the catch and shoot three. Josh Hart, surprisingly really good on offense, producing off of the catch and shoot three. The only guy that's any sort of shot creation outside of this is really OG Anunoby, right? And that's the guy that, for me, I don't know about you, I don't want to constantly trust someone like that to be scoring 20, 25 points a game. I think he's correctly in that 15-point range for a reason. So I don't think Hardenstein's going to have the best scoring. But last series, right, we saw 14 points, 14 points, 14 points in 3 of them, and then 8, 8, and 6 in the other 3. That's against Joel Embiid. That's one of the toughest matchups possible. For me, I think there's a lot more scoring upside in a matchup like this against the Pacers. So overall, I see upside in every category. I don't see a reason to just blindly look at last series stats and say that he's in for a lower workload. I think this is a better series for him, assuming that the Knicks do exactly what the Knicks want to do, which is slow this game down. They don't want to speed it up. They don't want to play in transition. They don't want to play the Pacers game. I think Hardenstein's much better for that. I think he has good upside in this series. I think he's someone I want to target early and often here.
Yeah, you just want those athletic guys out there, right? I mean, that's what I said to you before the show. I'm like, Bobby Porter's versus Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez got played off the floor in the Indiana series. So it's like I kind of assume you're using Mitchell Robinson in that Brook Lopez spot, right? You know, outside of Mitchell Robinson not shooting threes. But Pacers stopped the 3-ball. And obviously Bobby Porter's went to work in that mid-range game and was able to get a lot of offensive rebounds here with Miles Turner being pretty soft for a center underneath. So do not mind this at all. I kind of might be betting this one myself. We'll be getting on that. So good looks, Stu. Obviously love the breakdown here. I'll be going to probably one of the chalkier spots today, unfortunately, but I have to. Kind of have to. Castillo, Ragans, both my favorite pitchers of the day in the spots. Castillo, there's not really much. I mean, do you really need to say much about this Minnesota Twins team? Dude, they strike out so much. We have winds blowing in. I mentioned that to you earlier, Stu. It's like 15 miles an hour wind blowing in. Heavy ground ball guy already in Castillo. I don't think you got to worry about the power as much with this wind. But also, I mean, you're looking at this roster, man. Like, who are you worried about? I know they're on this win streak, but for a guy like Castillo that's going to blow up bats, it's like, what am I worried about here? You look at his stuff, 27% K rate on the four-seamer, 44% on the slider, 31 on the changeup, right? Just really good numbers. Expected batting average is actually lower on 3 of his 4 pitches. He is kind of avoiding the sinker, which I think is good because I'd rather you try to put the ball in play with this Twins team. Let them swing and miss, and they are more than willing to do so. I really like how good he is against lefties. Obviously, when you have a changeup like his, it makes it tough, and you're on these left-handed batters, especially when you're going to see a team like this where you see the Twins are willing to literally sacrifice their best player, like their best players, just for platoon advantage, for 1 AB. And that's why I think this team is just dog shit. And I know everybody likes talking about them right now because they're winning all these games, and I think I am going to fade them to oblivion now that they just lost that game. So I think this is a very fadeable team. I don't like this offense. I think they're not good. So many swings and misses. And when you look at Castillo, this dude's literally set up perfect for these guys, especially when you look at the BABIP against is like 390. So that's like, he's not even giving up that many barrels. So it's like I'm perfectly fine fading this Twins team, thinking the positive regression is coming. Cole Reagan's facing my Brewers. They still suck against lefties. That is going to continually be the thing. They have a 198 batting average. I know it's only a 200 at-bat sample size, but the lefties in this order have been doing a lot of work, right? You look at Bryce Terang doing very, very well to start this year. I mean, they're even playing fucking Oliver Dunn. Like, that's a straight easy K for Reagan's in that spot. Obviously, he's been getting deeper into ball games. And what I really like, too, is this weather. I know everybody's been talking about it, DFS shows and all that stuff. They moved the game up 30 minutes. So that's big. That's big news. 6:10 start time for this Brewer game. I think it's very, very important. Also, looking at Cole Reagan's, he has a couple blow-up spots that really kill all of the numbers that you see. That Orioles spot where he gave up, 9 runs or whatever in like 2 innings. A lot of BABIP killing stuff there where it was like 50-mile-an-hour hits that find a way to fall in, right? I related to yesterday. Tarek Skubal got just 2 runs on just absolute broken bat bull. It's just crap. So I really like this spot for Cole Reagan against my Brew Crew traveling from Chicago. Big series. I think this could be a big letdown spot for him in this first start against a very, very good left-handed pitcher. So sign me up. I'm in on this. You're muted, buddy.
Thank you. Sorry, helicopter flying over right there. Didn't want that to interrupt the write-up. But no, I like the spot a lot. Like you kind of covered. I'm a big fan in general, just kind of taking the high-level guys at these discounted prices, right? Because how many times have we seen the buy down be so important for strikeouts, right? Like everyone truly does matter so much. And we talked about it a lot, but Castillo and Reagan's are both guys that can get deeper into games as well. And that's really, for me, what I'm looking for when you buy a guy down is, do you have the volume to compensate for it? Because obviously, like you mentioned, the case stuff is through the roof, right? We know the stuff is there. It's just, can we get deep enough into these games? And I definitely think that's the case for both these guys today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's get it going. We'll go to play number 3. The 25 you guys in here live. Let's get it going. Stu's second play of the day. Love this look.
Yeah, this one's pretty simple. I mean, last one I was kind of fading the public a little bit, going a little off script right here. This one's going to be pretty popular. I saw it rise up from, minus 110 where I played it to now it's like minus 120, minus 125, minus 130 in a lot of books. So definitely for good reason. Edwards deserves to be popular. And I think I saw a lot of the stuff that most people that are kind of in the know are seeing, where the post-game quotes from Malone were very interesting in this one, where you expect Edwards to ball out and everything to be surrounded around him. But for Malone, the biggest thing in those post-game conferences that he was really nailing down, that seemed really pissed him off the most, was the Naz Reid, the Mike Conley, and Cat. All those 3 guys had huge runs in the third quarter, right? That were a little surprising, and that led to the 71% shooting in the second half that everyone's talking about. But sure, Anthony Edwards got off hot in that game. But that's kind of Anthony Edwards doing Anthony Edwards. Like Malone was really, really frustrated that Naz Reid would be the guy that would seal a game. Because, I mean, he kind of was, right? If Conley and Cat and Reid didn't make those runs, this was a Nuggets victory. The Nuggets were leading, right, when Anthony Edwards was absolutely destroying, right? I mean, they started out down, then the bench went on a run. But going into half, they were in a good spot right there as well. Things actually really fell apart when the role players took over. So I don't see some extreme adjustment towards Anthony Edwards. If we need to quadruple team, we need to send 16 guys at him. I think it's going to be Anthony Edwards is going to get to his spots. We don't have anyone to guard him. KCP, love the guy. He's a great vet, but that's not like he can do good. He's not going to do great. He's not going to stop Anthony Edwards from getting to his spot, as we saw last game. And then we can pray for Jamal Murray whenever he gets caught on those switches. Guy's playing on one leg right now. He's doing the best he can to be out there for his team. They're going to need him on offense just as much as defense as well. So I think there's a little viral clip of Edwards kind of laughing at him when Murray was guarding him, and that's for good reason. That's not a matchup they want. Christian Braun off the bench did a good job. I saw some people hyping him up. I was big on him last year, actually. I bet on him in the playoffs last year. That being said, this is a step up in competition. We're talking about one of the best scorers in the league. The point is there's not really an answer for him. But when we expect adjustments today, I think they're going to be really, really consequential for some of these other guys that we saw get hot. I think the switching is going to be more disciplined. I think like letting Naz Reid get open for these deep threes, letting him set the tone, letting, Cat set the tone is not something that I think is going to happen right here. Well, frankly, you can do all you want to stop Anthony Edwards, but he's still going to get to his spots, right? If he's still taking 20 plus field goal attempts per game, which there's absolutely no reason to expect he wouldn't, then I don't see why I wouldn't love this. Like, this is a huge spot. Obviously, both of these teams, obviously, Timberwolves are going to want the win for momentum, but the Nuggets need the win right here. And I think when you look at those adjustments, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as crazy as what people are kind of thinking for Edwards. I think they're missing the mark on it. I think it's more going to be Edwards is going to get his. He's probably going to drop 38, probably going to drop 40 in this game. But if we keep everyone else at bay, then we can win this game. And I think that's a pretty solid strategy. So whether it plays out like that or not, we've seen what Edwards can do in a playoff scoring environment. We've seen what a guy like this can do with 22 plus field goal attempts per game, which is what he took in the first one. And I wouldn't be shocked if the free throws went up as well, right? Averaging 6 overall in the postseason so far. I wouldn't be surprised if he got to the line a little bit more aggressively in this game.
Yeah, no, it was kind of funny that they were actually winning at the point of when he was just pretty much doing all of it. Kind of looked like Paolo Banchero, right? Doing his thing where it was like, dude, they were winning still. I mean, obviously they blew him out in the second half, but that's what happens when you rely on one dude that much, where you got to have him do pretty much everything. And I think Ant's willing to do it. I'm just kind of – my thing is just with the number just with Cat getting into that foul trouble so fast, like you almost kind of need that again, because Cat did very well in like that 5-minute stretch to start the second half when they did start doubling Anthony Edwards. So maybe that is a hype on your bet, but I mean, maybe it's if Cat is – actually playing that he could actually go off, but I think it also means that you can't really double Ant when he's in there because Towns just absolutely cooked these boys.
Yeah, I agree. And Cat, like I almost went into this game wanting to bet on him as well. Like I see what you're saying because I saw the same exact thing. The problem with that is he's gone into foul trouble every single game. Like every single playoff game. And it's not like people pointed out, it's not like, oh, he's getting a tough whistle. Like he's playing dumb. You know what I mean? Like he's making bad fouls out there. So maybe that's something that's correctable, but I agree with you. When he is out there, that really just means less attention you can send towards Edwards. And when you think about it, who do you trust to slow down Cat more, right? Or over their opponent more? Do you trust Aaron Gordon to slow down Cat, right? Do you trust this, paint defense to slow down Cat? Or do you trust, KCP to slow down Edwards? I probably trust Gordon and those other guys more than I do against KCP, against the best scorer in the league right now.
Perfect. Good breakdown, obviously. Ready for that one.
It does look like, I don't know, I see the chat too. It does look like Rudy Gobert missed shoot around and was downgraded to questionable. That's kind of insane. Yeah, I mean, it's better, but it's like, that's crazy, right? I mean, he wasn't on the injury report or anything like that. So I wonder, I assume he's going to play still, right? This is a playoff game, but if not, yeah, that is better for our bet. But definitely Definitely interesting. I'll yeah. Let me know if lines go up at any point while we're still in the show. If they're, because I assume it wouldn't change that much, right? From Rudy Gobert questionable news, like I don't know if that's going to reshape all the lines in the game unless this is like credible information or something bad happened that I missed or something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna keep this one rolling here just because I don't think my dog's doing too well right now. He's almost got to go out or something. He's free. I don't know if you can hear him freaking out over here, but we'll keep it going here. I'm gonna probably take one of the bets that I don't think anybody's gonna be betting today. I'm gonna be betting the Rangers under. I'm gonna be betting that first one. I'm gonna buy it up a little bit though. I kind of like the spot buying up because minus 145 for 4.5. I would rather just go up to 5.5 and find a spot I like to combo with it. So I'm gonna start out with Munoz, the guy throwing against the best team in baseball at the moment. Just swept the Braves in this Dodgers team. I know everybody's going to talk about how good he's been, and I get it. I know he's faced the Cubs in Wrigley when it was cold out. Sure. But then he got Colorado, just absolutely nuked them. It was Colorado away from Coors. I wasn't that impressed. What also really stands out to me is the dude is just K-ing dudes at like a 35% clip. This dude's a 21% K rate guy throughout the minor leagues, dude. So I don't see this happening that much. I don't see it continuing like this. And now you're going into LA, like absolutely brutal spot. Your team's pretty much given up their best player. I think this is an absolute shelling of this dude. My only issue is hopefully he just doesn't walk 20 guys when you have this many elite players. But you can't really walk all of these dudes, right? It's Mookie, Shohei, Freeman, Smith, who's probably the hottest catcher in baseball. Then you go to Teoscar, who hit a homer last night. Max Muncy hit 3 homers on Saturday. Like, this lineup is too deep. I don't trust this dude's stuff. And if you're going to tell me he's given up 3 hits to the Rockies, I'm fine with it, right? And you're heading into LA where the Dodgers are just an absolute juggernaut. Sign me up. I love this spot. I don't think his strikeout stuff plays throughout. Then heading over to the Rangers side, I know this is going to be a very unpopular spot because Andrew Heaney is a gas can, in my opinion. And Alex Wood hasn't been very good. But both these teams do not hit lefties well. And I was very surprised to see this from the Rangers. But, dude, they're like 6th worst in OPS against lefties, 646. You go over to the other side of this game, and that's the Oakland Athletics. Their OPS against them is actually so much better, 696 OPS versus lefties. But then you're also talking Andrew Heaney. How does he give up runs? It is by getting absolutely nuked, and now you're in Oakland. You have to hit an absolute tank. So what you need from Heaney for a home run in Texas is about 40 more feet, dude. You literally have to hit it 40 more feet in this spot, and I don't trust this offense. I only really trust Brent Rooker on this team, and or Shea Langoliers but he only does it against really good pitching. Andrew Heaney ain't that good, so he's not hitting a homer tonight. So I really like this spot. I think that the field obviously helps a ton. Alex Wood has not been good at all. I know, I understand that, but dude, this Rangers team against lefties has been so bad. And now you're adding Nathaniel Lowe in there against the lefty who still is getting the rust off. I know it's Adolis. I know it's Semien. I know that's scary, but you look at even the Jonah Heim, much better from the left-hand side of the plate, right? You look at these switch hitters, it's the same thing. Ezekiel Duran. I'm going to put my trust in Alex Wood in this spot at home. I know, like I said, I know he's been hit around. I know his underlying numbers haven't been good, but for it to be this far into the season and this Rangers seem to be this bad against lefties for, a 300 plate sample size, I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried about it. And all I needed to do is to happen for this start. You also have Wyatt Langford out, so that means you're probably seeing Evan Carter in there, who does struggle versus lefties, right? And looking at the spots where he's really got, blown up, right? The games he's gotten blown up was against Cleveland, who just blows up everybody. He's already had a start at Texas where he gave up 2 runs, and one of them was a home run, right? And then you go, he did well against Boston, right? He did well against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Gives up a lot of hits. This is not giving up those runs. He's done very well at getting out of those big jam spots. But both of the big blow-up games were against Cleveland, who absolutely mash left-handed pitching, and they don't strike out, right? So looking at Cleveland, they're 5th, right? They're 5th in the MLB with a 786 OPS against left-handed pitching. Going against the Rangers, that's 150 points better than what the Rangers are doing right now. And if you take those 2 games out, Alex Wood hasn't been getting blown up The only other game that he's given up more than 2 runs was against Washington, and Washington only can hit lefties, right? So it's like they match up well. I know Wood is not good. He is a can. I get it. But I think he can get through this and give me 2 runs. And I don't think this A's team is going to be – I mean, they could get some hits off Heaney, but they're not going out of the ballpark.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously the under is scary against the Rangers, but as soon as you just put the thing on the screen, I was thinking, and I was like, that had to be it. Because like you said, we faded Heaney like recently on the show, but it's what we were talking about of like when people hit it against him, right? He's kind of like a fly ball pitcher. When they hit it, it goes really, really far, right? And when you look at Oakland in general, this is not a lineup that's able – overall to take advantage of power giving up pitchers that much just because they don't have that much pop in general. And then you add in the ballpark that they're playing in. And like you said, it's obviously pitchers ballpark galore. It's why I play JP Sears, at home and nowhere else. And most of these guys, it's the same, where if you're going to target an athletics guy, let's make it, 30% harder to hit a home run. So completely agree. I love the logic on that one. I know it might be scary to people, obviously, just with the name value that's in some of these lineups, but completely see where you're coming from. And like you said, even if Rangers score a couple of runs here, it's not like we can really expect much reciprocity on the way back. So definitely like this look right here.
Yeah, and mind you, Rangers got a ton of lefties in this lineup. Like, they have a ton of lefties. Like I said, Evan Carter, they've been using Josh Smith a lot, right? And like I said, Jonah Heim's not as good from the right side. Seager, right? Nate Lowe, right? I mean, there's you can give up a couple solo shots, and you have to get it. Like, Adolis can hit out anywhere, but I get it. I definitely understand people want to go to the other side, but I'm going to trust the numbers here on this one, and we'll get it going here, Stu. Let's get a quick recap happening.
Sounds good. I do have a long shot to throw out here as well. We got Anthony Edwards over 28.5 points, minus 120. Back up on DraftKings, baby. That news did not ruin our line. We've been getting that too much this year. I was going to be real pissed off if they didn't put anything back up, but still good to go on Edwards right here, minus 120. Then we're going to the next game, the early spot. We got Isaiah Hardenstein over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists, minus 120 over on FanDuel.
Beautiful. I'll be rolling with Luis Castillo, Cole Reagan, 6Ks each, minus 116 on DraftKings. Munoz, 4 hits allowed with the Rangers, first 500, 5.5 at minus 123. Stu, you mentioned a long shot. What do you got for the people here as we head into the end of the show?
Yeah, I've got a 320 spot, and then I've got a larger version at 10-1. Do you want me to bring out the larger version or the smaller? What do we think?
You can do the 320 and then just say that you got the other one. I would assume you probably want to have better thoughts on the 320.
I agree. I got KCP to knock down 3 threes at plus 320. I think that's a great price. Like, I think just straight up KCP in a playoff game to knock down 3 threes is something that I want to back. Just in general, right? This is a guy that the volume is going to be there. Like, he's played 37 minutes in game 1. He was averaging around that in the first series. He's playoff battle tested. They're going to need his defense in this series. Like, I don't know why I wouldn't like to target him, right? 320 for 3 threes is the number for a guy that shoots 3 threes. That's normally what we're looking at, right? Shoots 3 to 4. KCP is going to be in that 6 range. And if he, it really depends on if he's making the first couple, right? But if he knocks down the first one, we're going to see maybe 8 3-point attempts in this one, right? So for a guy that's normally, sitting around 5, 6 3-point attempts, for a guy that has this kind of playoff experience, for a team that needs to look to some of these secondary pieces, right? Who's going to be the guy that steps up besides Jokic? For me, it's not that crazy that KCP could be one of those guys. So for me, I love the 3 threes, 320. I think it's a great price. I put the ladder up a little bit more, but I also combined him with another really similar player at 3 threes. That it's 1061 right now. I took KCP and I took Aaron Nesmith, both to knock down 3 threes at 1061. And I like them for very similar reasons, where I think both of these guys have earned their right to be on the court for very heavy minutes because of what they provide on the defensive side of the ball. And I think if they can continue that, if they continue getting these open opportunities, then the shots are going to fall in one of these games. We've seen it all playoff long with the role players. Who would have thought it would have been Josh Hart in the first series, right? There's so many guys that are going to get these good looks. I think Nesmith and KCP are 2 that can take advantage of it. But I think of them as very similar players. And funnily enough, Nesmith is plus 175 for 3 threes, and KCP is plus 320. So for me, that's kind of what made the value apparent to me. That's why I knew this was going to be my long shot on the show. You can also do 3 threes and 2 steals as well. As we know, I love the steals over here, and KCP is great on the defensive side of the ball, 2 steals in game 1. So definitely like KCP to be a little bit more involved in this one, and hopefully get hot from the 3-point line today.
Beautiful, and I'll match that with a plus 550 spots. Castillo talked about it already. I kind of like Sean Manaea today. I do like this spot. Wasn't long ago that we were just automatically fading pitchers against the Cardinals that were left-handed. Now I'm going right to them. Been making a lot of money doing that because these guys have been really bad. The worst left-handed hitting team in the MLB is the St. Louis Cardinals. Who would have thought that that would be the case? There's a lot of bad teams out there, but the Cardinals are the worst, right? My biggest issue is obviously the walks. That's obviously always an issue with Sean Manaea, but when I look at Sean Manaea in this spot, you get a team here that doesn't walk that much. In the Cardinals, I think they have like a 9% walk rate against lefties, a ton of swing and miss in this lineup, and only a 569 OPS. So you don't have to worry about power. I'm not really worried about him coming out super early. And if he does come out early, I think it's because he is striking out guys and his pitch count goes up. So I think this is a good spot for him. He's actually been really, really good on the road so far this year versus at home. And I believe they are in St. Louis today. Dude is absolutely just wipes out lefties. Any lefty in this lineup is nullified. 46% K rate so far to lefties, 178 xFIP. Against righties, 21% K rate. I think he's got enough stuff to get it done. So I'm going to roll with this at plus 550.
Yeah, I like the combo. We talked about Castillo earlier, but I've been high on Manaea ever since like the analytics nerds really like pumped this guy up over the summer as well. Like I read some interesting stuff. And well, we know he's inconsistent, right? We obviously know he's inconsistent. Those are the guys you target for the long shots, right? The guy that you don't know if he's going to have the, 6-7K outing or he's going to kind of get washed, right? And Manaea has multiple upsides, right? He can give you that killer performance and he can also walk himself out of a game as well. So, obviously that can be bad for a straight bet sometimes, but when you're looking at the plus money, those tend to be the kind of guys that I go for, right? The more wild card kind of guys. So definitely liking that look.
Yes, sir. All right. So what do you got for the people before we head out of here?
Well, a lot of good stuff today. Like I said, we got 2 props out already. I talked up my Knicks season series bets in this one as well. So we got a lot to root for. I'll probably have more bets though. I mean, I was very close to having Siakam unders on the show. I was very, very close to the points unders, maybe some rebound assist over, stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to have some more stuff, the Christian Brauns of the world, some of these backups. I'm going to find some props for him. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, make sure you're following over on Twitter. Have plenty more action over there. And yeah, I'm ready to make a bounce back this week. It was a long week for me last week. I'm ready to make that back here in the NBA.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to go. Should be fun. Plays are out, ready to roll. Follow over on Twitter. Have the notification bell on. We'll tell you if we're coming in early on Wednesday. Should be fun. Best of luck to everybody tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to cash in with you guys. So thank you guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you Wednesday.